It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and comics from all over. Brought to you by NagoyaComedy.com. Talk Funny, thanks for your requests. But here's Mark Bailey anyway.
Put that down.
I just started recording. Mike Miller, Mark Bailey on Talk Funny. We're talking about how sometimes when we have to let a comic go in Nagoya Comedy, it's because they don't get us. They're trying to one-up us. Mike and me and Tim and even Joe and Steve, we're not trying to one-up each other. We have different styles of comedy. We have different delivery. Sometimes we help co-write jokes with each other. We try to punch things up. And we're kind of like the Special Olympics. It's like, I will help Mike with his wheelchair onto the stage.
There you go.
And he will give me the ventilator when I need to breathe on stage. There's a wife joke. Mike can't tell that. It's not funny. He's not married.
Yes.
So he'll give it to me. And Steve has a wife joke. He can't tell it. He's married. He gives it to me. He can't tell it. His wife won't let him come to the show. And now Joe Magic has a lot of wife jokes.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened
there. I don't know. But yeah, we generally get along. We're not just doing this for show on the podcast. We generally get along with each other, and that's part of the reason we've been doing this for 7 years now?
Yeah.
Long time. And there's other cities in Japan where, let's just say, it's a little bit more fractious and a little bit more, there's one guy in charge and he wants to make sure that everybody knows that he's the guy in charge. We're not like that here.
And he's a musician, but he knows best about your comedy that you've been doing for 30 years.
How's his music career coming, by the way?
Never heard of him again.
Oh, okay.
He's in London.
Interesting.
You know, there might be a couple of other musicians in England. Have you ever heard of British musicians?
I don't know.
It's like I want to start off my career in prostitution, Mike. I'm going to Bangkok to start out. No, that's the New York of prostitution. Bangkok. No, you don't start out there. You start out in some rice field. You get some customers and you move up. And when you're a real prostitute, then you could be MC. When you finally get to be a real prostitute, you could be MC at Tokyo Comedy. But their turnover in Tokyo is very fast.
Yes.
So Bob, who's a good friend of mine.
He's a great comedian.
You met him?
Very funny.
He was a brand new guy when I met him in September. He was open mic, and then he was at the bottom. And by the time, I think 6 months' time, they were asking him if he wanted to oversee one of the venues. Mm-hmm. That's how fast the turnover is.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people coming and going from Tokyo all the time.
Yeah.
Nagoya has a lot more lifers, I think. Like, Nagoya is not the place that people don't have a burning desire to come here. Like Tokyo, a lot of people are like, I want to go to Tokyo and be there for a month and blah, 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 and then I'm going to leave. Here, it's like, people don't usually like, oh, yeah, I really want to go to Nagoya and see the car museum and, like...
What do you call them, the yearlies? It's like, I was going to stay here for a year.
Me too. But it's only been 15 years?
Yeah. We sometimes diss podcasts and stuff, but not without merit. Have you heard Megyn Kelly's show?
I have not.
She's got a podcast on Sirius. She had Tony Hinchcliffe on. It was actually very good. I actually don't dislike him. He had the Asian slur controversy.
That was just really not funny. It was bad,
but he's doing reparations now, like his Hans Kim. I don't know if you know him. He's on Tony's show, Kill Tony, and he's a regular now. That's his reparation.
Reparations to the community.
Yeah, so he has him on, and then Hans Kim tells the Asian jokes. I'm pretty sure Tony wrote for him. Yeah. One of his jokes was, I can't take credit for this, but I was working on one. Hans Kim came on and said, what about with the giant Chinese balloons up there? It's like, I think these gender reveal parties are getting out of hand. And I guarantee you that's a Tony Hinchcliffe joke.
Yeah.
Hans Kim, who is Korean, they can make jokes about Chinese.
His name is Kim and he's Korean?
Yeah.
What?
That's the first time.
Jeez.
And he said, but gender reveal is if you open the balloon, if you pop it and no confetti, it's not a boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If it's empty, it's a girl. Try again.
Oh, ouch.
Well, he told that. I thought it was very funny.
Oh, dear.
But these are Tony Hinchcliffe's jokes.
Yeah, that sounds like a Tony Hinchcliffe.
But he couldn't
he's
tell
very
them.
Dark, very nasty.
He couldn't tell them.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of, you remember Key and Peele used to have that thing where they had the Obama explainer guy?
Yeah.
It was like he was the one who'd like...
He would get angry.
He'd get angry at people, whereas Obama would go, well, I don't think we should do that. And he's like, well, we're not going to do that, thing. Kind of reminds me of that.
Exactly. So Megyn Kelly, she's had comics on. She had Hinchcliffe on. She's had Andrew Schultz.
Hey, Andrew Schultz, yeah.
She's had a lot of them on. and she tries to beat them to their own punchline, which I really don't like.
No.
And she tries to be funny, and she's not funny. You know, you're good at asking rude questions, and you're a reporter and a lawyer reporter. You can ask questions that I wouldn't be smart enough to know to ask, but don't try to beat me to the punchline of a dick joke.
No.
All right? You're going to lose.
Yeah, every time.
Because I have one, and I have a lot of punchlines about it. But she gets caught up in the comedy. And then Andrew Schultz had a special, and I watched the special, and I know his closer punchline, which as a fellow comic I will not, of course, spoil. Yeah. And she spoiled it by introducing him.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, oh, my God, Megyn, I'm going to have to write a new hour after this hour. She goes, oh, sorry. He goes, yeah, it was my closer. It's not like it was important or anything. It was just my best joke for the whole year.
Oh.
But thanks for that. He goes, can we edit this? He goes, no, we're not going to edit this. And he goes,
we're not going to edit this. She could have edited it. It's a podcast. It's not a live broadcast.
No, it's not live. So
that's a bit of ego there, don't you think?
She'll get you started on a bit. Like Andrew Schultz has a bit about white women or something. And she'll go, you had a thing about white women, so whatever you were saying. And then she interrupts him into the middle.
That's just really not good.
And she goes, yeah, that's true. And he goes, I know it's true. Shut up, Megyn. I'm doing a bit.
Jeez.
And then she keeps interjecting. She goes, that's funny. He goes, it would have been funnier if only I was talking.
Oh, my God. Jeez, that's nasty, but she deserved it. Yeah, I mean, like, that's just insecurity. That's really, she sounds like really insecure. She has to have the spotlight on her all the time. That doesn't sound like anyone that I know.
No, I don't know anybody like that. I'm in comedy, Mike. I don't know anybody like that. She had some, I can't think of examples now, fantastic guests. I mean, really relevant guests. And she will interrupt them when they're giving their side of the story.
That's not good.
Like, shut up. You know, the best thing about Joe Rogan, Howard Stern,
yes,
they will let you talk.
And Rogan even said that in one of his podcasts. He said, I learned that by podcasting. He said, when I started podcasting, I'd interrupt people all the time and whatever. He said, one of the things I learned from doing all these interviews is just let people talk.
And one of the things Joe Rogan got from that is he let Mark Zuckerberg yap and yap and yap. And then he got like a news flash. Yeah, FBI is telling us what to do. If he'd interrupted, Mark would have time to filter what he's going to say. When you interrupted me, I could say, okay, what should I not say? Oh, don't say that.
Yeah,
don't say that.
Yeah.
All right, now it's my turn. My turn.
What does they say? Give a man enough rope?
Yeah,
right?
He'll hang himself.
Yeah.
But like Joe Rogan, Howard Stern's good at this. I don't know if you know Patrick Bet-David.
Yes. I've
He's
seen him.
Iranian.
Iranian podcaster guy.
Kind of a businessman, Tony Robbins.
He's a very guru guy.
Iranian guy. He's great.
He's a good interviewer, yeah.
I mean, he's not dumb, but he plays dumb. He'll go like, so the personal income, individual income, you say it's not going to work. Why?
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to work because it's never been tried. But why has it never been tried?
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't work. Why wouldn't it work?
Yeah.
And the guy goes, stop interrupting me. No. Go. You got 10 minutes to answer. I won't talk for 10 minutes unless there's silence. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I
like that.
I like that about him. I like that. I don't agree with his politics, but the thing is it seems like he's genuinely trying to engage with people, and he's not doing it in bad faith, and that's good. I thought I enjoyed his Reza Aslan. He did a great podcast with Reza Aslan, who's also Iranian, and they had a big dust up about the Iranian politics and stuff. But Reza Aslan was really good on that podcast. I recommend it if anybody looked at it.
I have seen that.
It was really good. I always thought Reza Aslan, he's a guy on CNN. He's just, but he's actually, I did not know, like, the degree to which he's a religion scholar. Like, he's really knows his Bible, and they were talking about the Bible. They talked about all this stuff. Quran, the Bible, the Torah. He knows it all. He studied it all.
But Patrick Bet-David, if you're cynical, you're going to think he's an idiot. But he's not. I really admire his interview style. It's like, so capitalism is bad. Tell me why. Go ahead. Stop interrupting me, Patrick. No. Said no one ever.
Yeah,
he doesn't interrupt.
He had Richard Wolff, who's a Marxist economist, on his podcast.
I've seen most of these.
And they had a good faith conversation. I was very impressed when he had Richard Wolff on. I was like, oh, okay, so he's serious. Because there's a lot of people who are very afraid to have someone come on their show who has a very different political view from them. Because they're afraid they're going to get shown up. And but he's not like that.
Well, like, for example, to the contrast, Bill Maher, Jon Stewart, Daily Show, you'd get on to a contrasting view of theirs, and they'll just cut you off and go, I think you're talking BS. Now I think you're full of S.
Bill Maher's bad with that. Like, he had Crystal Ball on his show once, and she's kind of a very leftist woman, and she was calling him out on his BS.
Yeah.
And she never been back on the show. Surprise!
Yeah. So if you really think someone is full of S, let them show you.
Yeah.
Let them show the audience.
Yeah.
But no, it's my show. I'm not going to let you say something stupid.
Right.
No. Let them say something stupid. Let them dig their own grave.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
Like Howard Stern, he said, I'd ask a sexy girl a question that she didn't want to answer. And then there's awkward silence. I don't fill the time.
Yes. And on radio, like you said, you can't have silence.
You can't have silence. So
It's
after
law,
5
right?
seconds, it's illegal.
Yeah.
You have to do an ID or something. And he goes, I just let it ride. But by now it's satellite, right? And he goes, I just let the question linger. And she'll go, well, let's talk about something else. And he'll say, answer my first question first. Are you wearing panties?
He could get people to confess to all sorts of really stuff that you think people would not be ready to talk about. He's very good at that. He's a great interviewer.
He had Cher on right after Sonny Bono died. And he goes, when you were with Sonny in bed, did you ever fantasize about Greg Allman or some other people or Gene Simmons or something? And she goes, that's what kind of a question is that? He goes, it's a Howard Stern question. And she goes, next question. He goes, no, this question. No, did you? No, seriously, did you? She goes, I don't even know how to answer that. He goes, think about it and then answer it. She goes, I'm not going to answer that, Howard. It's rude. He goes, it's rude, but what's the answer? He just wouldn't stop. And she goes, I'm not saying anything. And he goes, well, I'm not going to ask another question.
Oh, my. This is back in the bad old days.
Yeah, and then it's silence, and she goes, okay, you want me to answer the question? He goes, yeah, that's what all the silence was.
Oh, my God.
And I said, okay, who are you fantasizing about when you're screwing Sonny Bono? She goes, well, yeah, Greg Allman, I knew him then.
She didn't say
and I married him later. And he goes, yeah, okay. So are you visualizing anal or are you visualizing missionary? And she's like, Howard, he goes, did you think you were coming on to the Bob Hope show?
Yeah.
Like, you've heard my show,
That's
right?
Shtick.
He goes, you've heard me interview chicks.
Yeah.
That's what he said. You've heard me interview chicks.
Broads.
Broads, that's the way I treat the broads. Dog! It sounds
I'm
like
misogynist.
Joe Diaz.
I like the broads.
I like the chicks, the gams. You know, the gams.
I don't even know what gams are.
Gams are legs.
The legs.
That's
the
Italian
gams.
for
The
gams. Gambino is long leg mafia family.
I didn't know that. So it means the long
Gamma,
legs.
Gamma is
Gambino.
Gamma is slang for it.
It's kind of like French jump.
Yeah, it's Sicilian. Gamma is Sicilian for legs. Look at the gams on that gal.
Gams.
Wow, the chick. She's got class.
I tell you, you see, she's got class, that dame.
Mark Bailey and Mike Miller on Talk Funny.